how you can factor terms, okay, or trinomials that don't have a 1x squared. And so the very first step in factoring is to factor out the greatest common factor. Okay, so that's something that's in common with all three. If you do this and the coefficient of x squared is not 1, you must factor a different way, and that's what we're going to learn about today. Okay, up until this point, it's always been 1x squared. And if I look at this, I've got 7x squared plus 29x plus 4. Now, is there something in common with 7, 29, and 4 that I can take out? 1 is the only thing that's in common. I can't take anything else out. So then now, if I look at that, I've got a term here that is not the number 1. So whenever that occurs, you have to factor a different way. Okay, now if you remember, I always looked at the last number, right? Okay, but since this isn't 1, I'm now going to just multiply the two numbers together. So I've really got 7 times 4, which is, so I am looking for, and now this is the same process we just got done doing last week. 2 factors of 28 that add to 29. What are those 2 factors of 28 that add to 29? 28 and 1. Now if you remember, I now have to get a positive 29 from those. So they're both positive. Okay, so now this is where that step gets a little interesting. Okay, are you ready? I'm going to start with 7x squared. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 28x, I'm going to add 1x, and then I'm going to add 4. I'm going to let you get that down, and we're going to look at where all those numbers came from. Okay. Where did the 7x squared and the 4 come from?
The top.
The first and the last, right? Now the 29 I rewrote using the 28 and 1 that I found here in this step. So it's still 29x, I just wrote it using 2 terms. Okay? So then now, if you remember, we learned when we had 4 terms how to factor this. How do we factor this when I have 4 terms? Group them by what? 2's. So that's why we learned how to group them, because what do I do in the first bunch? What do I take out from this bunch? What's in common? 7x. What will that factor out to be then? X plus 4. Now for those of you wondering where that came from, 7 times what number is 7? That's 1. X times what gives me x squared? Okay, I've got a 28x here. 7 times what is 28? Answer is 4, and I already have my x. So now, from this next bunch, is there something in common? 1. Very good. So then that leaves me with?
X
plus 4. So what will this entire thing factor to be?
X plus 4.
Okay.
7x plus 1.
Times 7x plus 1. Now, if those of you are a little uncertain where that came from, remember these 2 match. If they don't match, you've done something wrong. That is one of your factors. Your other factor is what's on the outside. Okay? So far, so good? Okay, let's look at another one. 3x squared plus 15x plus 18. What is the very first step?
Multiply 18.
Okay, be careful. What's our very first step?
Find what's in common.
Find what's in common. Is there something in common with 3, 15, and 18?
3.
3. So I'm going to take a 3 out. When I take that 3 out, what do I have? Plus 5 plus 6. So now I look. Is this number here a 1?
Yeah.
Yep, so I don't have to do it the previous way. I can just look at the last number. So I'm looking for 2 factors of 6 that do what? Add up to 5. Now be careful because these are always the toughest ones. What are 2 factors of 6? 3 and 2. A lot of people think it's 6 and 1 and it's not. Okay, 6 and 1 add to 7. So how do you get a positive 5 from 3 and 2? Add them, yep. So now let's review first of all. Remember now I go to 2 quantities and I look at this term right here and that will tell me what the first term in each quantity is. And what's that first term? X. What are the next terms?
X plus 3.
And now there's only one other thing I'm missing. Can somebody tell me what that is? Yep, the 3. We got to bring that 3 down. And there we go. So see, what's going to happen on today's assignment is you're going to have to remember what we did before and what we're doing now. Okay, so let's look at another one. 5x squared plus 13x plus 6. 5x squared plus 13x plus 6. Is there something in common with the 5, 13, and 6? 1, yeah, there's nothing in common. So then now, I see I've got a 5 here. So that means I have to do what? Multiply 5 and 6, and I get?
30.
So 2 factors of 30 that do what?
To 13.
Add to 13. What are they?
3 and
3 and 10. How do you get a positive 13 from 3 and 10?
3.
Yep, both of them are plus. Okay. So now let's see what our next step is going to look like.
Bring them down. And then
Yep, so tell me what it should be.
X plus 3. Do 5x squared
5x squared, okay,
plus 3x
okay,
plus 10x
okay.
plus 6.
Now, this is the thing. If you have a question, if you did the 10 first and the 3 second, that's fine. You'll still get the exact same answer at the end. Your steps in between just might be a little different. Okay, so if you switch the 10 and the 3, you'll still get the same thing. So let's go ahead and group them. What can I take out of that first bunch?
X,
X, and what does that leave me with?
5x plus 3.
What can you take out from the second bunch?
2,
A 2. And what does that leave me with?
5x plus 3.
Plus 3. Good. So now we compare, they match. So what are my factors? Okay. And x plus 2. Very good. Questions? Alrighty, let's look at this one then. 6x squared plus 22x minus 8. So is there anything in common?
2.
A 2. So what I'm going to do is take that 2 out. So if I take that 2 out, that becomes 3x squared. And then what will come next? 11x
Minus 4.
minus 4. So after I've taken that 2 out, I need to look at my x squared term. Is that 1? Nope. So now I have to multiply first and last. So 2 factors of what? 2 factors of 12 that do what? 2 factors of 12 that differ by 11. What are those 2 factors of 12 that differ by 11? 12 and 1, 1 and 12. Now I have to figure out how do I get a positive 11 from 12 and 1? What? Negative 1 and positive 12. So then now I'm just going to leave that 2 out front for now. And so now I need to rewrite. What will my next line look like?
6x squared.
Okay, let's go with the 3 instead, since we already took the 2 out. So 3x squared, what'll come next?
Plus 12.
Plus 12,
Minus
x, yep, minus
minus
1x
minus
minus 4. Very good. So now let's group the first bunch, and since I've got a -1, I'm going to go ahead and put that in the second group. Okay, whenever you have that negative, you want to group that with the first. So that 2's still out front, that's just going to hang out the whole time. What can you take out from the 3x squared and the 12x? What is in common?
3.
3 what? X. So if I take a 3x from 3x squared, what does it leave me with? X. 3 times what will give me 12?
4.
4, do I need an x with that one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I have a -1x, -4. Do you have something in common? -1. So if you take a -1 from -1x, what does that leave me with? X. -1 times what will give me -4? How about a +4? Okay, because -1 times +4 will give me a -4. So now the 2 is just hanging out front. You notice you have an x plus 4 and an x plus 4, so that is one of your factors. What will the other factor be? 3x minus 1. Okay. Oops, forgot the parentheses. Okay, questions? Okay, we're going to look at another one. So, 3, 17, and 20 is something in common with those 3. 1. So I look, I've got an x squared here that's not 1. So what do you have to do? Yep, multiply first and last, and what do you get?
60.
60. 2 factors of 60 that do what? Add up to 17. What are they?
$12.
12 and 5. Okay. How do you get a -17 from 12 and 5? Make them both negative. So then now what will my next statement be?
3x squared
Okay.
minus 12x
Okay.
minus 5x
Okay.
plus 20.
Good job. So now what do you do? Group them. Okay, since it's a -5, remember include that negative. What can you take out from the first bunch? 3x. And what will that leave me with?
X minus 4.
Okay, what can you take out from the second bunch? -5. Why the negative? Well, you want to get a positive x, that's right. So -5 times what will give me 20? -4. Okay, very good. What will my factors be then?
X minus 4.
Okay,
And then 3x minus 5.
3x minus 5. Nice job. All right, questions? We've looked at quite a few examples. Okay. I think I have one more, but do you think we're good? Do you want to look at that one or not? Why don't you try this one on your own? We'll see how you do. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at this. So I take first times last, so 2 factors of what? 2 that add to what number? 1. So let's see real quick. What are the only two factors of 2 that we have? 2 and 1. What do 2 and 1 add to? 3. Do they add to 1? No. So this one you can't actually factor as it is. Okay, if you went ahead and factored and put negatives in there, remember we don't attach the negatives to the very end. And so this one is actually prime. The only way we would have been able to factor this is if that last term was negative. The last term needed to be this -1. Okay, but this one is actually prime. So what I need you to do then is get started on your homework. Page 513, 10 through 21. And as I said, we will continue tomorrow, but if you need to get a good start on things, because maybe you're really busy tomorrow, that would help. Okay? So we will continue with this tomorrow.